Friday, April 12th, 2024. And The View started by talking about reactions to the death of O.J. Simpson. Um, I don't know why we have to talk about this. Can't we just be glad he's dead? But, you know, what it just to me seems to bring up more trauma for the Goldman and Brown families, for their murdered relatives that they never got justice for. It's and it's just kind of gross. Um, he was an abuser and a murderer. I get he was convicted civilly for the responsibility for their deaths, but not criminally. So I don't know how you classify that or have to say alleged or not. But he clearly did it. We all saw the evidence against him. We know he did it. Um, so who the fuck cares that he died? I honestly, I hope it was painful. And to die of prostate cancer, like that is so curable. So he's got to be a moron too. Anyway, it's fine with me that he doesn't share an astral plane with the rest of us anymore. And they tried to dissect why the OJ trial was such a big deal, and kind of hit the points, but I think they missed the mark and missed a lot of opportunity in their discussion around the table at the View this morning. Um, Amy Alyssa Farrah Griffin was 5 when this all happened, so her tidbit was a piece of new information that came out online today, which was fascinating. That a student at wherever the hell he went to school, USC, had to sign an NDA because was it Kardashian or Shapiro came to the school and the athletics department that had paid off 2 women that had accused OJ of assault and one of them of sexual assault, and they paid off the women not to tell their stories, and they had to make sure that the lawyers had to make sure that that information never came up in discovery for the trial. So more information about his abusive past that was never aired in trial. But anyway, the whole point, they got part of the points of it. The LA riots were a year before, after the verdict of the LA cops who beat the shit out of Rodney King, pulled him out of his truck, and it was on fucking camera. And that kind of thing didn't really happen back then. We didn't have cameras everywhere. So it was just happenstance that I think it was helicopter footage, um, that uh, that they had all that evidence of those cops beating the crap out of him almost to death and then getting acquitted for it. And so that was um, that set the entire black community across the country on edge. And then to have this happen, this murder, and the Bronco chase, and there was everything. There was so much drama about it. That was. I will diverge for 1 second. The whole thing about where were you when the Bronco chase happened? I was at a big gay party at this loft in Chelsea and RuPaul was there, just not in drag. He was just a guest. I didn't know him, but he's easy to spot. He's like 145 feet tall, and it was at that party that we heard about the Bronco chase, and there was one tiny little television way in the back of the loft in the bedroom, and so a bunch of us, like 40 people, are huddled around this tiny TV just watching this car go. And yeah, the attention span isn't very long for something like that. It's like, well, they're clearly not going to catch him. Let's go back to drinking. But yeah, so I don't know if RuPaul was watching the chase in the group or not, but that's what I always like to say, that I watched the OJ Bronco chase with RuPaul. Anyway, so the this murder happens not long after the LA riots and the Rodney King verdict, and it created an entire whole new sort of genre of of what is now infotainment. The shocking and the salacious and the 24-hour news coverage. It created court TV. It created the careers of all these people, like legal analysts and all sorts of shit that that we didn't really have on television before, because we just didn't have that kind of coverage of anything. So, but with the rise of cable television and all that kind of stuff, and to have the whole trial televised, everybody got to watch every piece of evidence. And Sonny Hostin is correct. The prosecution fucked this up. A leather glove, once it's been wet and dried, is smaller than it was before, and the theatrics of him not really fitting it in, the Marcia Clark, Chris Darnan affair, putting Mark, what's his name, the racist cop, on the stand. Like they fumbled this start to finish, and with that mountain of evidence against him. So it, during the trial, we all got to see all the evidence. So it was very clear that he killed these two people. And then to have the verdict turn out the way it was sort of a piece of vindication for the Black community and a disappointment for justice. So it that really, really highlighted the racial divides in the country, um, that still continue. And it was weird to me that Sonny kept talking about it was it showed the system failed, and it doesn't show that. I guess somebody else, maybe it was Anna, who said that Don Lemon said that the police have killed more Black people than OJ has killed, and that's not. I just don't think you can make this that one doesn't beget the other. So it's wrong for the police to be killing anybody, especially how much that they terrorized Black people in this country, Black and brown people in this country. Um, but it doesn't mean that OJ should get away with murder. Like that doesn't, you can't make one for the other. Um, so yeah, it that changed everything. It changed how we watch news, how we absorb information. Um, and everybody ran with it. That came the rise of TMZ, like Court TV, all of that whole idea of salaciousness being the lead, as opposed to giving us journalism and telling us what's going on. So that's the legacy uh, of um, Orenthal James. Is that his name? And it doesn't really matter what his football career was, or that he was in funny movies. Like none of that matters. Like I don't care. Uh, he was an abuser and a murderer, and I'm glad he's dead. Um, and then, of course, the other big news of the day: uh, the Golden Bachelor divorce. Who didn't see that coming? Um, and one of the ladies said the biggest mistake was, you know, we'll put your wedding on TV, but we do it in 30 days. Like they didn't think that through. They clearly they're getting divorced because they don't want to cohabitate. Their lives don't mesh together, which is something you would know if you had waited more than, you know, 3 months after meeting each other on a reality show, that to get married. Like it just so dumb. I hope this is a sign to ABC to not do the Golden Bachelorette, instead of, because I think they were gonna pass on doing Bachelor in Paradise, and we want to see all those young stupid people in tiny outfits running around the beach and crying. We want beach drama for the summer, ABC. For Christ's sake. Uh, yeah, and then next week, Donald Trump's trial starts.